So guys, like I said about the poisoning, it's not just the poisoning. I feel there's a huge conspiracy to set me up in terms of get me arrested for a fake false crime that I haven't committed behind my back. And it's been happening for the last couple of months now. I could see the little ticks and tacks, the plans. So what this is like basically is, I think, certain people that I know come and leave some guy's driver's license in my house and had to throw it out in the garbage and throw the garbage. So it could have had my fingerprints on it. They could recollect it. That's how these guys set up crimes. That's how they think. And then this girl that did this to me, her boyfriend another day gave me this check to cash in the middle of the night so we can get a quick $100. Then at the end of the month, when the check bounces, I pay it back to the bank. It's basically just borrowing $100 from the bank. Now the checks in whose name they were, I don't know. Maybe the names of the people that, you know, gave out those checks are the same names of the guy on the license, the driver's license that his girlfriend brought over to my house for me to put my hands on it. So it has my fingerprints. So when you look at all the events that happened to me over the last 4 or 5 months, and I can give you small details of this and this and this and that, if you put them all together, and God forbid, I get falsely arrested for something because they're planning on it, then all these things that they tried to introduce to my life for the last 5 months are small pieces of evidence that they can just make appear at a certain place and accuse me for it. Do you get it? Do you understand how this works? That's what these assholes do. All right? That's how they work behind the scenes. They're trying to build up a crime scene that haven't been done yet. Why? Because they want to get rid of me. I know too much information. I've woken up to their whole evil system. So I'll tell you from now what it is. Because I remember about 2 weeks ago, this guy that I know, his girlfriend showed up here and, you know, she was treating me for something. Like I told you, another one way back poisoned me actually. Not really poisoned me, but put me to sleep in my Coca-Cola. And then next thing you know, I opened my eyes 2 hours later, I got knocked out like this. So it was obviously a drug to knock you right out like an anesthetic. Anyways, so now what they've done is some Oriental guy in his mid-20s, he looked like, this license, driver's license, that this girl comes to my house and she leaves it in a garbage bag on the floor. So she asked me for the garbage bag when she first comes in. You got to remember, it's those small actions that can show you that these people are the setup type. Because she set up a whole bag in front of me there so I could look at it later. And the license, the driver's license, was strategically placed between white paper, white, you know, Kleenex that's used. And you could see the color. You could notice it a mile away. So when she leaves and I notice in the garbage there's a driver's license, I'm obviously going to be curious enough to look inside the bag and pick it up and look at it. And when I look at it and I see it's some kind of Oriental guy that's like 25 years old, I put it back in the bag. And I take the bag and I throw it in the garbage. Now, that license plate, that driver's license just got a bunch of my fingerprints on it. Right? Now, her boyfriend a couple of days later, he gives me this check to cash and, you know, whatever. Now, how do I know that this check was not been taken from that person that his own girlfriend a couple days before left his driver's license at my house for it to get my fingerprints on it? So now, not only does that driver's license have my fingerprints on it, but also there is a check from that same person's name being issued to me. That's an example, by the way. We don't know if the check is in that person's name. I didn't pay that much attention to it. I should have. Actually, I still have it. I can look at it, but I don't remember the name on the driver's license. That's the mistake I did. But at least I know it was an Oriental guy, more like Chinese or Korean or Taiwanese. Not Korean. Taiwan, Hong Kong, China. He had that look. And he was tops, you know, he could have been anywhere between 20 to 35 tops. Or even 19 or 18. Anyways. And all the other stuff that happened, you know what I mean? Going to this place, picking up that item, somebody comes in here, leaves a box, maybe on my way out I kick it, I touch it, then I put it back in the garbage, they could go get that item. So you gotta remember, if you're being set up for something, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes and it has to take time, a lot of time. for that person to be at the right scene when you're there, and something miserable will happen and you'll get blamed for it. Because on that scene floor, in that area, you will find the elements that they've had in my apartment to take down my fingerprints. See, you understand how this works? You're beginning to get it? So, if I'm being set up for something like that, and if they're going to set me up, they're going to set me up for something big. They're not going to want me to go to jail for 2 months and come out. You got to remember, I have a clean record. So, basically, I'm 43 years old and I haven't done anything. One small thing that I was falsely accused for, and I told you guys that story, I was set up for me to have a record so I can't get a job out there because they don't want me to work. A huge reason over all these years why I was unemployed. This is why I had to resort to making websites, and I succeeded at it, and I learned it on my own. Anyways, let's not, go off topic. So if they have been trying to set me up for the last couple of months with these small items, I am the kind of guy, guys, that if I really get put on the spot, I will defend myself. I won't use a lawyer because I'm that kind of person. If I'm going to be taken out, I want to be taken out in style. Not to be cool, but it just feels right. So, I'm going to represent myself, and I'm going to mention smallest details ever. In the end, whatever happens, if there is a court order of properly checking me, my head and my body, of foreign bodies like microchips, properly with an MRI and, a good ophthalmoscope, they will find microchips in there or foreign bodies. And once those are found, and me defending myself, mentioning these things and all the small detail and everything else I've been through over the last year, and there are real investigators on the case investigating it properly, not from these guys' side to put down whatever they want them to put down, then guys, I will beat them. Because what I will be talking about will be so truthful, even up to the time, the minutes of the day and night, that it will be pretty obvious that there's a setup going on here. Now, let's not let our imagination, shred too far. But in case, guys, anything bad happens to me, in terms of dying, getting poisoned, getting arrested for no reason, when it's not my fault. Obviously, I'm 43 years old. I've been getting harassed for over a year. I never even slapped somebody. So you can see the kind of control that I have over my feelings and emotions and doing what's right at the toughest, most irritating points of the day. So, my next 2 to 3 months are going to be a compilation of going to the same professional place every day in order to see real workers in those places. Not a bunch of people sent there and set up to pull a frigging ritual on me, to drain me of my energy through lots of motion and lots of noise attacking my visual and hearing senses. And psychological too, with psychological warfare. Attractive women looking at me and ignoring me, or spitting on the floor when they look at me, or coughing, or as soon as I pass by a garbage bin, right away they come and throw things in the garbage and make sure I see that. Or, you know what I mean, garbage trucks passing by the street wherever I go. Everything that's demeaning, that's hurtful psychologically, that's warfare on you. That's psychological warfare. It's just like creating noise and attacking your ears, creating unstoppable motion, non-stop. That's attacking your vision, your way of, when your eyes absorb what they see outside, these actions are an attack on your inner tranquility through your vision. All right? So, what was I saying? Anyways, this is what will happen if I get wrongly accused or poisoned, because I'm getting close to beating them and coming out of this maze. Guys, Toronto had 2 lives. It had 2 worlds over the last 30 years. It had a world of a microchipped man where every time he left his house, things out there went abnormal, and certain people came out to these locations by design because they were contacted and prepped and trained to do what they needed to do when they were called to come out to those places, because I was about to get to them. This world was designed behind your backs for this individual here to struggle and suffer in every single establishment that he walked into, and get a beating in a way, in a strange, imprisoning him in plain sight way, while you were on your break, on a summer vacation, fired from your job. I don't know what the reason is. Code Orange, there's a leak, there's a guy with a gun that's threatening people, whatever the excuse was to get you out of your working area. All right? And this has been happening for 30 years now. Not much, because when I was sleeping, I wasn't really going out of my house much. You know what I mean? I was basically, out of the week, I would, you know, spend about 5 hours outside, and the rest of the week indoor, you know. I was hooked on opiates, and all this was done by design to me. But then when I decided to quit them and come back to the real world, I realized that my surroundings were fake, and I was being surrounded in a fake world wherever I went. Nothing functioning properly, just a bunch of people waiting there for me to pass by so they can start moving and talking. I know this sounds really weird and fucked up, but watch all my videos, or most of them, and then you'll see that what I'm telling you is true from actual video proof in video footage way. You know what I mean? So, now that I'm getting close to beating them, I'm going to keep hanging out at the same place over and over and over again, a place of function, where they can't really replace those people or send them on vacations in there for 5-6 months straight. You know what I mean? The real people that work at this hospital or at this place I'm going to hang out at will eventually have to come back. They can't be covertly, you know, sent away, and this torturous team, ritualistic team, taking over their place for 6-7 months straight. It's an impossibility. Unless the whole city is based on me, and that's impossible too. The economy wouldn't function, it would collapse. So while you were sleeping, I'm going to use that term, or away, the city was used as a ritualistic torture environment for someone, because he got microchipped. As soon as he opened his eyes and left his home, everyone pinned on this microchip had a job to do, which was over 100,000 people. They went and replaced all these people in stores and showed up in places where he showed up to surround him the whole time and annoy him with movement, motion, noise, psychological warfare, you name it. By the time this person went to all these fake places and got back home, on top of the war waged against him so he won't get a job or get anywhere or meet anybody real or build a social life, this person got so depressed that he went on drugs. Not willingly, because his own brother and family covertly introduced it to him so he can feel better about himself. But because he was so ambitious, he taught himself how to build websites. That all went in the mid-90s. He taught himself how to build websites and started making tons of money, and they were really scared. So what did they do? Make the bubble bigger, and it followed him worldwide, guys. How? When I type on the internet in 1995 or 96, a lot of information about Mexico City, obviously I want to go visit it. And about the topics I was looking, that's how they can read your mind, by tapping your internet. Or the microchip itself, which they could see what you see, because it's injected into the optical nerve. And that's the nerve that translates what the eye see to the brain. So there is a way to do that. Check it out. The NSA released these documents admitting on this micromillimeter that's injected into your optical nerve, where after that they could see what you see, hear what you hear, and hear what you say. All right? So, now that I found out about all this information over the last 30 years in this city, this operation took place. Every time this person left his house, this is what he encountered outside. Basically, you're being beat up as a piñata everywhere you go in a covert, ritualistic fashion, creating tons of movement, tons of noise around you, shutting doors, opening doors, in a way that the gullible eye would not notice the difference. And an eye that was born into this, because I'm an orphan. I was adopted by this Freemasonic family that did this to me from birth. So, exactly like the Truman Show. When you're born into a world and you don't see the other world where people live in the normal one, why would you question yours? You will eventually, because of all the injustice and pain that you go through, and you get to a certain point and you realize, you know what? Something's not right here. Wait a second. You open up your eyes really well. You look at your environment and you start to ask questions. Why is this guy around me everywhere I go? How come every place I go to, there's a lot of noise? You know what I mean? So once you start asking these questions, it means you've awakened to your surroundings, which are not real. They're artificially set up in order to drain you of your energy. Sorry guys, my mouth is really dry. I can barely talk. Hold on a second. You know what I mean? So once you wake up to that, and you start asking these questions, this was last year for me in August. It's been a year exactly. Today is August the 22nd or 23rd, 2019. It's a Saturday. So, now that I've realized all that, and another life was happening in the city all along for the last 30 years, which included a lot of misfits in it. Not all of them, but most of them. People in society that don't really get far. People in society that there's sort of a negative energy. If they work in your office, you sort of don't want to be around them much. For some reason you can't explain. They just possess this energy that's the wrong vibes. Usually it's the way they look too. They look strange. Or really attractive women that instead of prostituting, they get paid $1,000 to come into this world and tease me by passing in front of me, by posing in a certain way, showing me a certain body part that would be my type of body part because they've been watching me all my life. They know exactly what I like and what I don't like when it comes to women, food, cars, houses, whatever. So these are the kind of people that they have in this world, you know what I mean? The majority are like that, obviously. Who's gonna want to come into a fake world, artificial one, and torture someone and know that they're torturing them and go home and have a good night's sleep and do it covertly and not ever talk about it again? Not many people. So this is the kind of people I'm surrounded with. I'm surrounded with an iceberg, Antarctica here, a big wall of ice that's preventing me of meeting real people in a real society. Even these people that do this to me, if I was a microchip and they didn't see me as a target, when I'm not tracked and monitored and I come out in public, I could bump into those same people on the outside and they wouldn't even know. So they don't have a special agenda against me. They just work for this company that targets people, puts a microchip in them, and their job is to come out and torture these people in a covert way. That's it. They get paid for it, they go home. All the ones that show up at the scene, they don't all know each other and have a conversation before you get there. No. It's kind of compartmentalized. They just sit there and wait to do their part when you get there. When you pass by from where they're sitting, there's a certain script downloaded into them. I know, guys, this sounds really weird, but it's a technology. And they say that script as you're passing by them, whether the script is to jump up and down, talk, point, fart, whatever it is. They do it. I don't know how this works, to be honest with you, exactly. It's genius, this technology, but it's being used for negative reasons. Control, domination, and dividing society and pitting them against each other in a very new age, covert, plain, in your view, in plain sight, but it's hidden way. What else? So I'm about to pretty much hit the same place over and over again, so they can't really put a hospital out of commission for 3-4 months straight. They will run out of excuses to tell these people not to come to work. They've had all summer to do this to me. I started doing this at the beginning of the summer, pretty much, give and take a week or two. And now that September is kicking in, people are going to go back to school. I don't know, real work's going to start. Whoever was on vacation is going to be back. I'm going to start hitting it hardcore in terms of showing up at these places, that of high function. You know what I mean? Because I do have also business there, I have to take x-rays, I want to do an MRI, in terms of hospitals. Now, in terms of courthouses, I want to have a lot of tickets on my license, I want to fix things that way, and I want to hang out outside and look for a job because I'm not employed. I have no reason to sit at home. So I have all these legitimate reasons to get out there and do the things I'm telling you right now over the phone, which hopefully will eventually get me surrounded with normal, warm people. They don't always have to be warm, not all of them. They can be cold too. But as long as they're not there knowing that I'm going to show up on some kind of weird technological agenda, As long as they're there, you know, because they need to be there, because they went out there to work or to buy an ice cream or to take the subway. And whoever they bump into, they're just people in public that they happen to bump into them, which makes it a normal life, not an artificial one, where they're just sitting there and waiting for this target to pass by for them to apply their ritualistic tactics on them in terms of motion and psychological warfare and noise. And they know everything about him. I mean, not everything, but what they need to do, what they need to know in order to apply this evil ritualistic science on that subject and drain him of his energy. So he can walk into one establishment, into the other, and get the same exact treatment from all of them. Regardless whether he wanted to buy a hamburger at this place, get a coffee at that place. In the end, the people sitting in those places and apparently working in those places, they're applying a specific special kind of science on that subject by moving too much and making too much noise. All right? Anyways, guys, this video is taking too long. I'm sorry if I talked your ears off. I hope, you know, this will give you a different look on things. By the time October hits, I should be free. This will not take forever out there. I will eventually bump into real human beings. This bubble will not last forever because it's bubbling itself geographically over high-functioning places that they cannot keep out of function for months and months and months. This is my logic behind doing what I'm about to do. And at the same time, I have a website, YouTube channel. I'm going to still be sending out random messages to certain Canadian phone numbers. I can check them out and make sure that they're mobile, not a landline, through a couple of websites out there where you type in the number and they tell you the information, even the person's name, where they live. I don't need that. What I need is to make sure that it's a mobile, not a landline. So when I send an SMS, it goes through. And every day, I'll be sending over 300, 400, 500 random messages. I know that there's a program, I could probably use it through Excel, where I can send 10,000 phone numbers in one shot. I'm currently in the process of learning how to do that, so I can save myself all this time and be able to alert everybody in one day. You know, this is possible. You can program it in Excel or something else. I have to learn how to do it. So, these two weapons in the meantime. I could have, you know, went to a different country when this was not set up when I first woke up last year, but now it's too late. It's been a year. I don't have enough money to travel and do that and then come back here, and they're doing the impossible, and they have been doing the impossible for the last year to prevent me from saving money or acquiring a sufficient amount of money in order for me to do that. So, now that we're at this point, at this intersection, the rest is easy. Their whole inner prison psychological warfare and annoying doesn't work on me anymore. Like I told you, I have a special garbage bin. As soon as my eyes see that movement, as soon as my ears hear that noise, as soon as my brain absorbs that psychological warfare, they will automatically take it and throw it into this garbage bin, and the garbage bin gets thrown into the garbage quickly before my brain or my feelings process any of this dirty, poisonous information, because it's been flashed in my face all day long, over and over and over and over again. So you pretty much have to build up a certain kind of talent to evade it, not to absorb it and get poisoned from it. Okay guys, have a good night. I'll be in touch. I'll make you a lot more videos. I'm sorry my teeth are fucked up. Soon I'm gonna fix them after I come out of this prison. And this is how it's gonna happen. Hopefully I'll be able to do it in an area where it got abused so much. These fake people were all over it. Real people were out of it for a long time, and they had to force them back in pretty much because they've been out of there for a long time. I've tried the airport, Gravenhurst, Ontario, courthouses, you name it. All been fake, evacuating real human beings out of there and putting these weird robotic ones where, you know, they're not really robotic, they're normal people, but they act that way around me because of the microchip. That's their job. So they get brought into that specific area, set up in certain places for me to, if I go that way, I bump into them, and to apply whatever they need to apply on me while I'm there. Okay? Have a good night, guys. I'll keep in touch, and let's win very soon. And I'm unmasked. See you soon.